now the architecture for handling of the funds is being set up by the government. So there's a clarity on that. So the Shell should bring that money and put it on the table, put it in the pot, so that the process can kick off immediately. And so we imagine that Shell would do this, that the government would do this, and whoever is set up, whoever is included in the committee, they will work in a way that there will be a clarity about how the funds will be handled, how the pool of expertise needed to handle the cleanup will be selected. And I believe that the United Nations Environment Programme should play a key role in terms of warehousing the funds, in terms of release of the funds, in terms of monitoring how the funds are being managed, how the cleanup is being done, approval of the level of compliance with what needs to be done. And also the other stakeholders would be the wider governance structures of the nation, now legislators, the judiciary, the government. We have laws already, we have standards, environmental standards in this country, and we have to be sure that these standards are adhered to. I also believe that having agents from representatives from the oil, from the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and also from the Ministry of Environment in that the team being set up by the President is excellent. But having 3 representatives from the oil majors may be an overkill, because these are the people we are accusing of committing crimes against the environment and against the Nigerian people. And you may say, okay, Shell should be in the committee, of course, because they're the major polluter in this. But if the idea is to cover the wider Niger Delta environment, then we can understand. If that is the case, then we need more stakeholders in the structures being set up. Otherwise, it's lopsided in favor of the polluter, and the polluter cannot be the judge in their own case.
What do you expect from oil giant Shell, considering that it is considered to be one of the biggest polluters of Ogoni land and, by extension, other areas?
Actually, I think government, whatever arrangement they've made, the government is being very nice. It's being a gentleman, more or less, to participate in contributing the funds for the exercise. I would agree that government can contribute funds for setting up the structure, setting up the agency that will handle the cleanup, because this is primarily a government agency. But the money needed to conduct the cleanup, to actually effect the cleanup, should be put on the table by the polluter. So you are right. This money should be primarily from Shell, and in addition, from the polluters within the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, which is the NNPC. And this is also why I believe that the structure, we don't know exactly the exact setup of the structures yet. All we have is an announcement from the presidency. But when we see what the exact structure is, we can make further comment. The former HYPREP, Hydrocarbons Pollution Restoration Project, was domiciled in the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. And we strongly believe that this was defective, that that project should be in the Ministry of Environment, who would now be able to hold whoever is polluting the environment accountable. We cannot domicile this agency in a ministry that's complicit in the problem that's being created. And we also believe that the name is also important, because the name is defective. Hydrocarbons Pollution Restoration Project. We don't want to restore pollution, we want to restore the environment. So why don't you call it Hydrocarbons Pollution Remediation Project, which is still HYPREP. But if we don't have a clarity about what we call the agency, it could also suggest that there's a defect in the formulation of the project itself. And don't forget, the HYPREP was set up on the eve of the first year anniversary of the UNEP report. It was hurriedly packaged to counter the clamor of the people. They were expecting, I think the government was expecting a major protest from the people of Ogoni land for non-action 1 year after the UNEP report was issued. And so this was coupled together. And we've seen the result of coupling together in kind of a hurried manner, that agency. What they've achieved in concrete terms has been the erection of signposts all over Ogoni land saying, polluted environment, contaminated environment, keep off. Contaminated area, keep off. Where are they going to keep off to?
We have seen initiatives like this one by Mr. President result in little or nothing in the past. What do you think will be different from this new current efforts by the government?
This is why it's so important that this should be handled very carefully. And this is why we have some element of hope because we do understand that there's been negotiations and discussion with representatives of Ogoni people before this announcement was made by the presidency. So if there's a buy-in, there's an understanding, there's an agreement, and the people are being consulted as this is being formulated, there's a chance that we may have better results, different results. But as I said at the beginning, we are looking at, this is not a 100 meters dash, this is a marathon. We're talking about a process that will last at least 30 years to reach a conclusion. We're talking about a lifetime of cleanup. Some people like to say that, well, this is not a lifetime. I've heard people say that, but it's better to look at it as a lifetime project because when you begin the process, there could be delays, when there will be changes of government along the line. There may not be sufficient emphasis or funds on the table. So you could eventually be looking at 40 years, 50 years, 100 years to complete this process. This is why the foundation must be very solid and rigidly so that nobody comes around to toy around with this. Otherwise, if we don't handle this, we won't have learned the lessons to enable us to tackle the same problems occurring elsewhere, which may also occur in Lagos. If Lagos begin to extract oil, as we'll be hearing noises about that, we can expect as you extract oil, you are expecting pollution, you are expecting problem, you are expecting social dislocation. All that you've seen in Niger Delta, you may say we're going to do it better, but it's never been done better anywhere in the world. So this really is a situation that needs very careful arrangement and very careful execution, with competent agencies having very clear oversight about what is being done. It's a matter of life or death.
So what is your final word?
My final word is that it's time to rebuild, not just clean up, to rebuild a place like that. And I think that if this is done, then the labor of our heroes past would not have been in vain.
I want to thank you so much indeed, Mr. Nimo Bassi, for speaking to us on State of the Nation.
A pleasure, Gimba, anytime.
Through a combination of approaches, individual contaminated land areas in Ogoni land can be cleaned up within 5 years, while the restoration of heavily impacted mangrove and swamplands will take up to 30 years. However, according to the United Nations Environment Report, all sources of ongoing contamination must be brought to an end before the cleanup of the creeks, sediments and mangroves can begin. I am Gimba Umar, and this is State of the Nation. Bye for now.